Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your man, Rich Kopech, joined with me, as always, the boys themselves, Joe, Matt, Chris. How are we doing today, gentlemen? Starting with you, Chris. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Feeling good after this past week. So far, fantasy football has treated me well for the most part. But yeah, doing good. Doing good.
Okay, all right. Matt, how you hanging?
Doing pretty good. I might sneak in to the playoffs in our dynasty league, which is what I am hoping because I traded away all of my draft capital in the off chance I have a shot. But in redraft, I'm doing pretty good. I should have the 1 seed if I win this week. So I'm feeling pretty good in that league.
Right on. Mr. Joe.
I hate it
You
all.
alive.
I'm ready for next season. Burn it to the ground. This was the worst. I'm the unluckiest person in the world.
Someone get the fire
And-
extinguisher. Put it out.
Can't wait for 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, you've had a couple
That's
bad
so-
beats.
It's when you have the most points scored in the league and you're in 6th place battling for a playoff spot, it makes you really look at your life in the mirror and be like, why do I play fantasy football?
Yeah. And I
Because
mean,
it's
hey,
fun. It's an infuriating thing, but would you want to do anything else?
Yes.
You're Joe.
Win.
Listen to me.
I'd rather
You're
win.
gonna you're gonna push through.
My team
Like,
is good
this is-
and they are doing good and I'm not winning and it makes no
it makes no
sense.
sense. But rise like a phoenix, Joe.
Ugh.
You got this.
it's true.
You got.
I could not make the playoffs. It's crazy. I look
You're
at
gonna
the
make the
league,
playoffs.
I don't know. I just lost Jonathan Taylor, so who knows?
Just like Jonathan Taylor.
Jeremy
we'll
needs
see.
to outscore you by like 250 points this week, and you need to lose.
Which could
So-
happen.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh, yeah. Who
Who
knows?
who does no 250 points and
Yeah.
then some? No.
Joe's team is just going to take a bye week.
They're gonna get negative points.
My team's getting on the bus and going home.
They're all gonna start throwing interceptions.
Oh wait, it's Sunday. Oh, I didn't know.
All right. Enough with this. Let's move it along here. So, quick question of a day. We're getting into the playoffs. This is your last week before we get into that 3-week span. Some people seem to be on the cusp and not sure how they're going to turn out. Others, seem to be all locked up. But nonetheless, it's been quite a season. So, running through here, quick question: who has been the biggest player this season for you? Whether that be somebody good, who you may have faded in the draft, or vice versa. So, Joe, we'll start with you.
Mine, for obvious reasons, will be Brock Purdy. Going into the season, I had plenty of quarterbacks. I'm like, you know what? Let me trade one. So I was shopping Brock Purdy. I'm like, hey, who wants Brock Purdy? No one. No one wanted Brock Purdy. He's hurt. It's a long-term injury. He's not going to be the same. Oh, he's not going to be the starter. Trey Lance is there. No one wanted him. I'm like, okay, guess I'll keep him. And then here we are, week 14, and he's throwing dimes. And people are coming to me and saying, hey, what do you want for Brock Purdy? Too late. Oh, duh, he's a good player. No wonder they kept him and got rid of Trey Lance, that bum. And now he looks to be the real deal. He is he looks he gives me he reminds me a little bit of Tom Brady, where he sat behind someone for a bit. He was not really anything, and then he's coming in here and he's looking good. So, oh duh.
Yeah, Purdy
I like
definitely
it.
looking great. Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people trying to talk with you in the beginning of the season, but I feel like I didn't really understand the value of him, so I might have missed out. And now my championship could be fading away from me.
Your trade was close. I was very tempted to take your trade because it was like just a late first and something else. And
Yeah.
now I'm glad I didn't take it because now he is killing it.
And yet you got his first anyway.
True.
Damn.
I don't even remember what it was for, but we'll carry on. Chris, your player.
Yeah, so mine's a bit rough. Alvin Kamara, Kamara, is my ODA player. I I was in a bunch of fantasy leagues. I really only drafted him in one, solely because it just didn't make sense not to. Um, it was actually funny in our dynasty league I entered this past year. I was in I guess a redraft like thing where it was the guy I took over and then only one other person, and then we were drafting basically teams from those two teams. And I remember Alvin Kamara fell pretty far, and I was like, no, dude, no. Like his 2022 season was not great. He also has all this trouble going on. He might not play. I think I told Joe exactly that. And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna pick him. And I think I made some other picks which weren't bad, but were nowhere near as good as Alvin Kamara. Now I'm just punching myself for not taking the number 9 overall running back in fantasy football right now. The pass catching machine of Alvin Kamara. So yeah, that's definitely my O-Dom moment. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely looked great as of late, that's for sure. But sketchy to start, with the suspension to start, it's a reason.
Yeah.
There's reasons why, people were skeptical of the age and all and the offense as a whole. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I wish I had some Alvin Kamara on my teams. Maybe that would have saved me in one league, but I digress. Matt, your player.
For me, it's definitely Mike Evans. I think the three of us kind of talked about that in one of our rankings disputes, and I kind of buried him. I thought rightfully so, but credit to Joe there. He said Baker was going to be a pretty good quarterback, and for fantasy, he's been supporting Mike Evans. For me, it was just looking at what he did in 2022 with Tom freaking Brady, and it was a whole lot of nothing. And it's crazy. Baker Mayfield is the son to Mike Evans and kryptonite to Chris Godwin because Godwin does nothing at all. You can drop him in leagues because he does absolutely nothing. You never know, but he's just nothing short of dominant right now. And 10 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons is crazy. So we'll see what happens in 2024 because I believe he's a free agent. But if it's still him and Baker, maybe it's a slight step back from this year, but I don't think I'm going to make the same mistake on him. What about you, Rich?
Well, I mean, definitely agree with you there. Mike Evans, I think really what it came down to is the age, the length of it all. Can he do it? And to piggyback off of that, that's really where my player is. And in one, Keenan Allen. Uh, I don't know. I just with the age, as I mentioned, that's really the big thing there, and also the first draft capital there in one Quentin Johnston, who we have yet to see really do anything. So that's a wait and see there. Obviously, maybe he'll have more chance of doing stuff next season, but for now, where we are, Keenan Allen is very much the guy, and with that, dominating is the first read every time Justin Herbert snaps the ball. So it is what it is, man. Old players still elite.
Yeah. Helps that Mike Williams also out for a while now.
Mm,
When did that happen?
yeah,
5, 6, right? Week 5 or 6, something like that.
something around there. Yeah,
Yeah.
But that's definitely a
But
good
definitely
contribution to that.
100%. I mean, not that he's bad in any way. I mean, clearly he is proving doubters wrong. He clearly had that capability the entire time, but definitely helped bring it to light.
Yeah, he is that dude. Anyway, so moving on then. So to start us off in the playoff primer, let's talk about a player or two. Seemingly they come out of nowhere. Um, whether or not, they just, surprise you off the waiver, a rookie, whatever it be, they just get hot at the right time. A player that, could ultimately that you can call a league winner. And let's start it off there with Joe.
So I'm making.
Hey Joe, I think your mic cut out.
Whoop, I fixed it.
There you go. Yeah, we missed all of that.
I'm going for a future league winner. Future. Like he's about to become a league winner. Like I'm seeing into the future. And that is Ezekiel Elliott. Ramondre Stevenson is not playing. He has an ankle injury now. And if you look at the Patriots running back depth chart, it's Zeke and McCasey, however you say his name, hasn't even really played this season. So it's pretty much Zeke. And we all know the quarterback troubles in New England are bad, and they are a run first team. So I want anyone that's going to be running the ball on a run first team. It's going to equal points. It's going to equal a win. You could probably get him if he's not on a team right now. Probably get him off the waiver wire, and I think you can plug him in, put him in for this injured Jonathan Taylor, put him in for an injured Najee, put him in for any of these injured running backs you may have, and he could lead you to the promised land.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am gonna agree with you there, just because I had Ramondre and I was very much excited for the finals with the Broncos and the Buffalo Bills. I thought some good matchups there, but yeah, Zeke should eat as he used to. Moving along, Chris, your player.
So my player, it took my all to not put Puka Nakua as my player, just for the meme. But I'm gonna go with maybe a bit of a shot left field, but 100% works. Trey McBride, currently tight end number 10 in fantasy. My thought process is really simple. By week 14, fine. Week 15 is gonna be tough. Playing against San Francisco, there's no way around it. It's not ideal. Completely understandable. Then you play against Chicago, and despite everything else, week 17, which for most people is championship weekend, up against Philadelphia, who hasn't been good against the tight end position, specifically. When you're dealing in a league, right, where tight ends are just so hard to come by of consistent nature, right? I mean, they're like you've got Kelsey, Laporta, maybe Kittle right now, right? I mean, Mark Andrews got hurt. You don't really know about is it likely the replacement for Mark Andrews? It's one of those two. Um, uh, there isn't too many there who are consistent. But Trey McBride, he hasn't been stellar every week, but he's the consistently getting like around the 7 to like 12 point mark, which is really what you want. If the rest of your team is solid and you didn't draft a tight end until like round 9 or something, around 8 in your draft, and you're kind of like streaming for whatever tight end options, and you just have McBride on your bench, this might be the guy. This might be it for your league winner. He might just push you over, especially in championship weekend where both your teams are stacked, and the difference is the other guy has like a tight end and you got that like consistent tight end. That could be the one.
Yeah, I actually lost Andrews in our league, and I picked up Trey McBride a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if you guys watched that game last week. I know it kept going on and off with the weather delay, but he had an entire drive that was basically all him, 100% just him every play, and he looks awesome. So I'm very, very happy I have him. This week doesn't help, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, when I saw somebody drop him in our redraft league, I thought to myself to remember to pick him up. And unfortunately, I guess you had that thought process about 5 minutes prior to me, because when I looked down at my phone and I saw that notification, I saw it was you. I immediately yelled to the gods, you know. So that happened. But all right, there, Matt. Let's hear your player.
For me, it's going to be a guy that I tried to acquire, and one of us has on our dynasty rosters currently. Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco is by far the running back one on the Chiefs, and he has probably the best playoff schedule for fantasy against the Patriots, Raiders, and Bengals, all of which who are pretty bad at stopping the run. He gets 20 or more opportunities. He's gotten that every game since the Week 10 bye. And right now, this offense is just, it's frustrating to watch sometimes because these pass catchers they're not helping Pat Mahomes. This offense runs through Pacheco right now. And you just can't trust any of the pass catchers. So even Kelsey has been down a little bit compared to what we're used to from him. And just watching Pacheco run, he just gets it done. Simple. He's got a good matchup in the playoffs, and he can ride that into the championship.
I will.
Yeah, that guy.
Thank you.
That guy knows how to run. Runs hard. That's
He
for sure.
runs like he's mad at the ground every time. I don't know why. It's funny. It's effective because he does it, but every time it's like, what are you trying to stomp? Is there like a spider underneath you? You're trying to like go crazy?
Yeah. And as long as he's not trying to punch anybody through a helmet, we got to relax on that.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that start. That was crazy. I saw like clips after the fact.
Yeah. I don't
Hey,
think helmets punching them works very well.
You're welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So my player here that I'm going to highlight is one Zach Moss. The man himself, man. I'll tell you, at the beginning of the season, the old JT fiasco, this man has stepped in and done nothing but just deliver for your fantasy lineup. From the minute he started until the minute they said, "All right, get back on the bench. We have JT. We signed him to a big deal." And now here we are. You're a week away from the fantasy playoffs. You need a smash start. And you're looking at Zach Moss. And yes, he didn't really deliver last week, but I think this week he will. Cincinnati is nothing really to fear, especially with Browning behind the helm. I don't imagine that. Well, let me be hesitant because actually that Jags game, he looked really good. But nonetheless, if he does look really good and there are points to be had, then why not have Zach Moss in your lineup? Indianapolis has looked well. They can play, they can shoot the ball down the field, they can get themselves to the red zone. And then Zach Moss, I think, can get himself into the end zone from there. He should have a great day. So to get you in there at the very least, if not continue to carry you through the playoffs, I think Zach Moss is definitely a great start there. So overall, fantastic. My hat's off to this man for this season. That's for sure.
Yeah, he just looks good.
But moving on to our highlighted segment, the heroes of the week. So these heroes this week, this is some important heroes, gents. These names that you're highlighting need to deliver. There are people out there that need to get into playoffs, and they're counting on you. So let's hear it, Joe. How we starting off?
So I'm gonna go with another running back, and he's gonna be very relevant. Not that he wasn't relevant already, but he's gonna be even more relevant now with the injury, and that's gonna be Jalen Warren. We all know that Najee is banged up. I do hear that he's supposed to play, but I feel like he's going to be on a limited snap role, or they're going to kind of put him more in a backseat role. And he's been splitting a lot of touches with Jalen Warren before he got hurt. So I see Jalen Warren just taking the driving seat and running the ball often and well. We know Kenny Pickett got hurt, so they're going to lean on the run. And any team that's leaning on the run, where there's very little fighting for who's the RB1, is going to get points. So I think Jalen Warren's going to have a really good game this week. And if you have him in your lineup, he should at least be in your flex position.
Yeah, no, I mean it's tough, I know he did practice today. Najee Harris did not, but there is optimism still in the team or on the team that he is going to play. So at the very least, though, it's going to be about a 50-50 split, I imagine. And so Jalen Warren, I think, is going to be one of the only people on the team, unless Najee plays, and one of the two people on the team that's going to produce some sort of fantasy output for you if you're, leading that way for sure. Chris, your guy.
So, I like to take shots in the dark. We all know that it's my favorite thing, and sometimes they work out. Actually, I like to think my record is pretty decent with this. So I'm gonna go with another one. Dallas Goddard, however you want to pronounce it. For
Goddard.
your liking.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm gonna go with. Really simple. Really simple. I really only have one mentality for this. Actually, I should say two. Coming off of an injury, he's been out for a while. He hopefully rise back like a phoenix. We've seen it before. I can remember specifically, right? Maybe a couple. I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years ago. Another like high end, good name tight end George Kittle came back from an injury and scored like 30 or 40 fantasy points in a game on the game he came back from an injury. I'm not saying he's going to produce like that, but they're also against the Dallas Cowboys. Huge rivalry game. Obviously, grudges are there. I'm not saying that this is like a fight for true city. It's not like this game is going to decide everything to a certain extent. It's not like this is the last game of the regular season, but in a sense, they want to win to secure that first place in their division, and they also just want to stomp their division rival. I don't see why the Eagles wouldn't utilize every single option possible, which in this case also includes Dallas Goddard. Sorry if I'm pronouncing the last name wrong, but that is just how that is. I imagine that AJ Brown will probably covered to a decent amount. I imagine the defensive plan for the Cowboys will not really revolve around guarding the tight end position that much because he hasn't really been there at all. So this is the time right now to put your foot down right now. If you're struggling at tight end, this is your guy.
Okay, yeah, I mean, definitely it's been an up and down ride with Goddard for sure. You like to see the full practices before this week comes in, gives you a little bit more confidence, and obviously, the Eagles are the Eagles, so fun to see. Um, moving into mine, I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard versing against the Saints this week. Uh, Chuba has been slowly but surely taking control in that backfield. Poor Miles Sanders, honestly. I have to pour one out for him. But, ever since the firing of one Frank Wright, it's been the Chuba Hubbard show. It's been effective. He popped off last week, 25 carries, 104 yards, 2 scores. You love to see it, especially in a matchup that nobody really had faith in him with. And I know it's really hard to believe in the Carolina Panthers right now. But yeah, no, I think you can definitely dip back into the well here this week with the Saints. They're more vulnerable over the last month and been getting beat up. They played against running backs like Montgomery, Bijan Robinson, Ty Chandler, Deonta Foreman. They've allowed scores to all but Foreman, but Foreman still had about 80 rushing yards by the end of the game, so still had an overall good day. So it's the volume there. I think they're going to look to him to do what he did last week. Saints are exploitable on the ground, so should be a good start this week for Chuba Hubbard. And I'll pass the baton off to Matt.
Do you remember how high Matt High was on Miles Sanders going into the season?
Yeah, how to
Circle
the
back on that real quick.
Should have picked him as your quick question player.
Yeah, kind of wasn't good.
That's brutal. Brutal.
Hey,
We'll recap all these. We'll do a recap of everyone and everyone who's done us wrong and everything. So stay tuned for that in the offseason. For me here, my hero of the week is going to be Mr. Alexander Madison against the Las Vegas Raiders. Going to start off by saying this is a little bit lower down the confidence spectrum, but Madison, it's been tough this season. He's been mostly disappointing from where we had him in draft season, thinking Dalvin Cook is gone. They want him to be the guy. He's going to be the bell cow in Minnesota. And they started off really hot, throwing the ball. Justin Jefferson came on as always. Jordan Addison was a big product of that. And then Cousins got hurt. Offense shifted a little bit. And, now it's kind of just his efficiency numbers have been pretty bad so far through the season. But this week, he's coming off his best efficiency game, averaging 5.2 yards a carry before last week's bye. So he's fresh off a bye this week, and he gets the Raiders defense. and they're just not very good at stopping the run. They've been a little better as of late. Max Crosby is you don't screw with him, but you get around the outside and they're definitely vulnerable. And right now that defense is allowing about 20 fantasy points to opposing running backs. I know this is where everyone goes, oh, well, Ty Chandler's there. He's getting a little bit more run as of late, but with this, I think this offense will be better now that Justin Jefferson's back. Joshua Dobbs was named the starter again. There was a lot of kind of up in the air about that. And he's still waiting for his first rushing touchdown of the season. So could this be the week against a bad defense? I think it could be. You drag Justin Jefferson down on the one, because most likely he's going to be able to do whatever the hell he wants. It could be a shot in the dark, but Alexander Madison is someone I'm playing in one of my leagues over a couple guys just because I see the upside in this matchup. So Alexander Madison, I think, is a safe play this week.
Like it. Alexander Madison has definitely shown that he can be the guy. Ty Chandler, though, is a shifty man. But the return of Justin Jefferson is going to be interesting, especially with it's not being Kirk Cousins. It is Josh Dobbs. So I'm still on a more of a hesitant approach with this Vikings offense. I want to see it all come together now with Justin Jefferson back in the fold, which hallelujah. Can we just give a little bit there for my man coming back right at the right time? Thank you, Justin.
I also have
All
Justin
right,
Jefferson in another league. Yeah, I'm feeling that, honestly.
yeah, and I'm good. Like we could take a break. I'm already secured on my spot, so he can ease in. I think, I've secured up the bye week, so we can also ease in for 2 weeks and then just slam dunk it in for the end. Would love that. Moving along. Joe, hero number 2. Let's hear it.
My second hero is going to be Tucker Kraft, tight end on the Green Bay Packers. We've seen Jordan Love kind of come into his element as of late. He's been doing really well, and we know that Luke Musgrave is on the IR. So I was trying to look for a player that is available in most leagues on their waiver wire that you'll be able to pick up. You want up to trade, you could, because trade deadlines are closed in most leagues. You just grab them and plug them in. And we all know that Christian Watson is dealing with a hamstring injury. We don't know the severity of it, but we know he might not play this week. If he's out and Luke Musgrave is out, it's going to open up other targets for other players. And I think that Tucker Kraft is in a very good position to do very well with Jordan Love. We've seen Jordan Love do well with Musgrave before he got injured, and I think it's going to just fall right into Tucker Kraft's lap. I think you could look at he's going to be solid for you for at least 6-7 points, which for a tight end position you really can't ask for too much more. So plug him in, win your playoffs.
I was very close to making Jaden Reed my start of the week, hero of the week.
I also like Jaden Reed. Yeah, I think any of those weapons on the Green Bay offense with Watson maybe out and Musgrave are going to be pretty good pieces because Jordan Love is looking pretty good.
Agreed.
Yeah, I lean the Romeo Dobbs side in that, but I agree with you guys. Someone's going to have to step up there to, catch balls from the awesome Jordan Love. So,
and they play the Giants, so
very true. Very true.
Hey,
it's
the
kind of crazy.
Giants.
They lost to the bye week. I didn't know that was possible. They lost 45-0. That's incredible.
That's an improvement.
All right. This guy with the jokes. Your hero's up.
Yeah. This one's a little more short and sweet. I got Cortland Sutton. Choosing Broncos wide receivers is a bit of a coin flip, I feel like, to a certain extent, although I feel as if Cortland Sutton is more reliable. He has consistently put up numbers close to 10 per week, 10 points per week in a half PPR league, and I know for PPR leagues he's definitely reached at this point. Definitely a solid flex play. They're going against the Chargers defense. Not great. as many have seen. And Russell Wilson is not playing bad. I think this is it. I think you're probably pretty safe to put in Cortland Sutton. Even if Jerry Jeudy goes off, I don't see any reason why Cortland Sutton can't have a solid week.
Yeah, it's always tricky with. I feel like right now to trust a Broncos wide receiver, but hey, Sutton has looked good. He has been consistent on the touchdown train, that's for sure. I think that broke as of last week, right? If I'm not mistaken, I kind of checked out on
I think no, it broke the week before against
the week
Cleveland.
before. That's
Yeah,
right.
it broke in week 12.
This is when
Yeah,
they get you. The Broncos wide receivers. This is when everyone's like, "Oh, all right, maybe they're good," and then it's like, "Nope, dud."
Right?
Put up a
Yeah,
goose.
dude. I'll
But no, I
cry.
agree. I agree with the Sutton one. He's been Russ's number one target. And say what you want, but they were on a pretty big winning streak, and he was a big part of it. So he's
They
made some
looked
incredible
good,
catches. So
offensively speaking. They
yeah,
looked good.
For sure, for sure. Looking on then into our next hero, Matt. I'm going to let you start, and then I'll wrap it up behind you.
all right. So my hero is going to be Noah Brown against the Jets this week. This is where I want to, raise our glass to Tank Dell, who's a great wide receiver. Helped me out a lot this season, and I
Gone
don't
through
know what
some.
they were doing, putting him on a play where he was bound to get hurt. You don't put your smallest guy to block these defensive linemen, but I'm not an NFL coach. So suffered a big injury. Noah Brown came back last week, didn't get targeted, put up a goose, but he's been dealing with injury. Now we'll go into the good stuff about him. You know, it's just he's been a solid boom or bust flex play most of the time this season when he's active. He's that big play guy in that offense. Now he also has a pretty accurate quarterback who leads the NFL in passing yards in CJ Stroud. And right now, with Tank Dell being out, there's going to be a consolidation of targets. So a lot of that's going to go to Nico Collins because he's going to be that go-to guy. We could have mentioned him at the top as a league winner as well. But Robert Woods is there. He'll mix in a little bit, but those deep shots, they're going to go down to Brown. And we've seen him put up almost 200 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He has that in his repertoire. So I think this is a guy you don't absolutely force into your lineup, but if you're in a must-win week and you have a guy like Elijah Moore, who with Joe Flacco, or have the shot of Noah Brown because he's on waivers, I might ride with him because his upside could be completely week winning. Like you're not winning the week on Elijah Moore. So Noah Brown gives you that upside. He could put out 20 points and help you give that edge to make the playoffs. So that's where I think he's a wide receiver 3 at flex, but with some decent upside. Is that a little bold for you guys, or are you kind of on track?
This is
I
the
mean-
first hero that I disagree with.
Ooh,
All right, let's fight. Let's do it. What's your
Why
counter
is
argument
that?
there, sir?
I mean, look at his week. Last week he played 81% of the snaps and had 2 targets that he didn't catch. I mean, that doesn't bode well for me having faith in someone. But I'm more on the Nico. I'm very high on Nico Collins right now, not high on Noah Brown.
Oh yeah, I mean
I-
Nico's
Fair.
obviously the play.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just thinking like
When
Noah
did
Brown
when did he get hurt?
last week, like
No,
early in
I'm,
the
I'm
game.
like early in the game. It's not
Yeah,
great.
it was like the first.
Who ended up being
5-10
the wide
minutes.
receiver? Who ended up being like the second guy who got targets? Do we know?
I think
Because it
it
definitely
was pretty
wasn't
much
just
Nico.
Was it really just?
It
Did they
was
just keep
it
going
was
to Nico? I didn't
Nico
watch the game.
Collins went crazy. He had the
He
game.
had like a
That I knew.
47% target
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, that I knew. I didn't know if I don't know if there was like another. I would imagine they would choose another. Like they would need to put someone else there as a wide receiver too, or just another player to throw to. It can't just be if they just do it to Nico. The same thing's gonna happen. He's gonna get injured. It's like they know that now. I mean, Tank got it right.
Looking at the game itself, Mechie had 3 targets and Jordan had 4 targets. So Jordan had the second most, Mechie had the third most, then
Oh
Brown.
my god.
Obviously,
Okay.
Nico destroyed.
Yeah.
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 I'm
My
just
my
saying
my.
last week, I'm not really counting because Noah Brown was coming off an injury. He was out for a couple weeks. So
Yeah, but he played
it's a little
81%
different.
of the snaps, Matt.
Yeah, but a lot of times, I mean, some players do that. It's sometimes it just
Just
look-
run around. Just run around on the
Hey
field.
man, hey man, hey man,
That's
hey
what
man.
Terry McLaurin
I
does.
watched I did watch Jamar Chase catch like 2 balls or something at the beginning of the season and play like 95% of the snaps, and then Joe Burrow was just bad. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think this is like the most outlandish thing known to
That's right. If
mankind.
your name's not Curtis Samuel, you're not allowed to get the ball.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't think this is like the worst. I don't think this is the worst thing of all. Like I said, they're gonna have to make a number 2, right? I don't know who it's gonna be. I don't think Noah Brown. I have no idea if Noah Brown is that answer. Only they will know. Time will tell. But
Yeah. Either way, the Texans have been a lot of fun to watch this season, and CJ Stroud has looked great. So, would love to see him dismantle the Jets' defense that everybody thinks is so superior. I would like to see him just put them in their back pocket, put them in his back pocket. Great.
Don't
Anyway,
worry, we got
moving on.
Zach Wilson this week.
I can't wait.
Zach Wilson.
Anyway, my hero is going to be Isaiah Likely, playing against the Rams this week. Likely is taking over as the tight end as the replacement for Mark Andrews. And it's really not as simple as that for your fantasy leagues, as we've seen Likely kind of have good games and bad games. And obviously, we know Lamar doesn't really throw too often to not Mark Andrews. So looking at it, I think this is a week where you can actually kind of put him in, play him. I think he'll be fine. The Rams, they're a great matchup to target for tight ends. They've been giving up great numbers consistently all season long. The last 4 games played, the Rams have allowed a tight end to finish as tight end 7 or better, at least on 3/4 of the time. The one game they didn't was against the Seahawks, but that's because the Seahawks don't have tight ends. It's Will Disley, and I don't know who else. So, yeah, we're not going to count that. But anyway, if you want to, we can go back a week further to 5 games ago where Ferguson was there, and Ferguson had as the tight end 10. So there, still top 10 tight ends. It's consistent. It's good to target. I think that's how they're going to end up scoring points here. So, yeah, Isaiah Likely should be all right this week for sure. Any objections to that?
Damn,
No, I agree 100%.
Poor Noah fan, dude. He just disrespected him like that.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. I'd like to think he won't have the role like Mark Andrews, but I feel like he will have a comparable role in that offense. I don't think he's bad. I truthfully believe they're gonna diversify those targets, and he will most definitely see a good amount and make those catches 100%.
And if
Especially
not,
against-
if he doesn't, you just at Richie.
Of course.
There you go.
Also, they're against the Rams. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No offense to tight end 30, Joe. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, defensive streamers. This is where we are now. This is it. Get it right.
Noah fan, if
Or
you're
you're
watching,
not
I'm
in.
sorry. Richie doesn't
Just
know.
kidding. No.
So Richie hates Puka and Noah Fant now? Man, that
We're gonna write that
long.
one down. We're gonna write that down. It's okay.
Actually, I am a little bit upset about Puka last week. He did not need to run for a 70-yard screamer, get hurt, come back in, and then I don't know, just everything about it. Like he could have just chilled for
Bow
30
Bow
less,
before
for 3
Puka
less
Nacua.
points.
Hey man, Sean
want it.
McVay said he died on the side of the field. You know, he
I
wasn't
don't want
breathing.
it.
His shoulders messed up. Like,
Yeah, clearly, dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Dude,
Man, upsets me.
bow to poo.
Upsetting.
all right, let's
Upsetting.
dive into these defenses because we got a lot.
Yes. We don't. So starting from the top, really. I mean, Steelers Patriots game tomorrow should be a defensive showdown. So really, either one you want to play there, I think, is a good one to go with. Should be some points
Before
to be had
we
there.
move on there, do you guys know the DraftKings line of that game right now? What the over is?
30.
No. What is it?
30 points.
Yeah.
30
But still,
for two
Steelers
teams.
minus 6.
That's terrible.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yep.
crazy.
It's going to be. I mean, the thing is, the Patriots have held offensive the past 4 weeks to under, or past 3 weeks to under 10 points. So,
Yeah.
granted, they lost all 3 of these games, but they're doing great on the defensive side. So, yeah, and the Steelers, it's I don't know what you're going to get from there. So it's going to be a snooze fest. Everyone's going to be slamming the under in that one. I would imagine you'd want to take the over. I mean, I'm not sure what the odds are for the over right now, but
The only way the over hits is if there's defensive scores. That's it.
True. Could happen though.
Oh, they could both have 2. 2
Yeah.
each.
Another good one to target would be the Texans playing against the Jets. They've kind of been a slam dunk all season long. We've seen the Zach Wilson experience before. It's still points to be had there on the defensive side. So I don't think this is going to be anything different. I don't care what the resurgence now is. It's still Zach Wilson. So let's not forget what he looked like when he played a couple weeks ago. So no brainer, just put in the Texans. Moving down the list, Packers versus Giants. This one should be interesting. Honestly, I kind of can see it both ways. I know that people think the Giants are out, and I do think so. I mean, obviously, statistically wise, or for playoff chances, but not inside their own hearts. I like the Giants. Maybe it's just a homer thing here. I don't know. But yeah, the Packers, I would say, definitely are more so the pick there. The defense should do their stuff on Sunday. Yeah, but can't count Saquon out. That's a good run. That's a good team to target for running backs. So Saquon having a good day could mean that your Packers defense ends up not being so great.
Oh, they'll
Moving
be
on,
fine.
Panthers.
It's DeVito. They'll be fine.
Yeah, no. DeVito is where where you're gonna get the money there as far as the points. But
It's over. They're not gonna get it. I have his gabagool. It's over.
Yeah, I mean the shoe's got to drop sometime, right? Maybe. And the last
It
one
dropped after week 4.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm talking about the DeVito experience because so far he's been playing pretty well. But Panthers versus Saints would be the next on this list. Yeah, I don't know how I feel really per se about the Panthers offense right now. I think they're kind of yucky. The Saints, we don't know who's starting yet, but if it's the Jameis experience, well, Jameis loves to throw to other teams. So points to be had there. Points to be had.
He can see now, though.
Hey, the wide receiver's down there somewhere.
He's like
just
the
what
he's one of the
wide
most
receiver
fun
because it seems
quarterbacks.
like they're all banged up.
It's you. You're my wide receiver. Yeah, as he runs it in for a pick 6.
Do we think maybe
Why
he's
is on-
just colorblind? Because like
Why
I'm
is on the gold
colorblind,
sparkly
and it ain't
team?
fun. And he's just
They
like,
gave him the flashing lights. All right, we're not here to pick on players
Well, hold on now. We could be though. No.
because well, hold on now. Oh boy! All right, well that's gonna do it from us today. Thanks for tuning in, listening. Remember, check us out on YouTube. Rate, like, love. Goodbye.
So long, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter at TheHeroesFF.